Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
They say opposites attract. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is the best bed for couples. You can each choose what's right for you whenever you like. You like a bed that feels firm but they want soft? Sleep Number does that. You want to sleep cooler while they like to feel warm? Sleep Number does that too. You have to feel it to believe it. Find the bed that's for both of you, only at a Sleep Number store. Sleep better together. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in store. And now, Sleep Number Smart Beds starting at $999. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Did she tell you what she wanted?
No, she didn't. She did say she wanted like candy canes on it. She said, I could do whatever I wanted. She totally gave me complete creative control. She knew, that I make some pretty wild ones. So I wanted her to win, and
right.
I went over the top.
This is the plaintiff, Doris Cochran. She says she makes ugly Christmas sweaters and sold one to the defendant who now refuses to pay her, even though she said she loved it. That's right. The woman's now claiming she's embarrassed to wear the thing and has been emotionally damaged. Oh, brother. She's suing for $300, the cost of the Christmas sweater. This is the defendant, Catherine Andrea. She says she told the plaintiff she was going to an ugly Christmas sweater contest, and the woman told her she could make a sweater that would win the $1,000 prize for being the ugliest. The woman made her the raunchiest thing she's ever seen. Phallic elves, boob ornaments, and Santa doing some untoward things. Over $100? Yeah, right. She's accused of having no holiday cheer.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milan in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milan is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Doris Cochran, you are suing your, former friend, Catherine Andrea, for $300 that you say she owes you for a sweater you worked on for her. Tell me what happened.
That's correct. Hi, Your Honor. I'm a single mom of 2. I've been making ugly Christmas sweaters for the last 6 years.
Ugly Christmas sweaters?
Yes. Okay. I've been selling them in local stores up until the pandemic, and then things just, kind of died down. So I've been selling them to family and friends and locally. So an ugly Christmas sweater contest was coming up, a party that we were all going to. Me and Catherine have been friends for about a year now, hanging out, going out to clubs, karaoke.
How did you two meet?
We met through like a Facebook meetup group.
Really?
Yeah.
That's out there? That's a great idea.
It's so cool. So you meet like new people and everybody gets together, and so we kind of just been like hangout buddies, I guess you'd call it, since we met.
Are these examples of the sweaters you're talking about?
So these are other sweaters that I had sold in the past to some of the stores, the local stores. I started progressing where my sweaters started to become a little more phallic because people thought they were very fun. So I would be making sweaters, with boob ornaments and, gloves on the chest area and, handprints like on the back where the butt would be. And
okay.
So they, you know.
You found that those sold very well.
They sold very well.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just like flying, you know, off the
And
racks
how
at
were
the
you?
store.
How were you selling them online?
So I was selling them at 2 local stores that are
Originally.
Exchange. Yeah, originally.
So even the raunchy ones were selling at stores. Okay.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
So you know, it was selling better, I guess, at the stores.
Sure.
Like, you know, because, you know, not everybody wants a wild sweater like that. But, you know, me and her hang out and party, and so for a whole year.
So whose idea was it for her to enter an ugly sweater contest and for you to make the sweater for her?
Well, she already knew that I made sweaters, but we both knew that there was going to be a contest. I, you know, just wore just a regular. I wanted her to win, so I went all out for her, and she gave
but did she say to you, "Will you make me a sweater?" And then did you tell her the price is going to be $300?
Yes.
All right, and then both of you are figuring she's going to win because the sweater that you made was pretty outlandish. Where was this party? The contest?
It was at our friend's house, Matt's house.
Okay. And so did she tell you what she wanted?
No, she didn't. She did say she wanted like candy canes on it. She said, you know, I could do whatever I wanted. She totally gave me complete creative control. She knew, you know, that I make some pretty wild ones, so I wanted her to win, you know. And I went over the top.
Did the subject of raunchiness come up?
Not really, but I mean, she's familiar with my work, so.
Okay. All right, so, and how is she familiar with your work?
Well, I mean, she's seen pictures, you know, I've showed her pictures before. Right. You know, yeah, she's seen, you know, pictures of my kids in them too, and.
Well, I presume your kids aren't wearing the raunchy ones, but maybe I'm making a lot of presumptions here. All right, so she just says, go nuts.
Yes.
And, right, so you go nuts, and then when do you show her the sweater?
Okay, so I had only like a couple of weeks, and so I purchased all these different decorations and ornaments, and they can get quite expensive at, you know, certain stores and how elaborate it is. So I had about a couple of weeks. Took me about 10 hours to make. So I worked on it a little bit, you know, when I could over the course of a couple of weeks. The plan was that I was going to meet her at the party, and that she was going to bring $300 cash after I gave her the sweater. That never happened. We get to the party, we go into the bathroom, she puts it on. She said she loved it, and next thing you know it, you know, we're hanging out. You know, I didn't really press her for the money at the time. You know, I figured she would give it to me at some point, and then, you know, we were just drinking, and I could back up. You want me to tell you everything that happened?
Yeah.
So the contest happened, and of course she didn't win. It was some other girl in like a really cheap sweater, like just very generic. I mean, it was unbelievable. I could tell.
Because let's see the sweater you made for her. I need to see this now. Will you hold it up, please?
Let me make sure I have it situated the right way.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. I don't suppose I could get you to put it on, can I? Would you have an objection to that? That's fine, you're hesitating. Did you have an objection that day, or did you put it on that day?
Oh, I put it on that day, and I was a little bit uncomfortable, but I kind of didn't want to say it. I wanted to be enthusiastic and, you know, definitely maintain that good attitude for the contest and all that and have my shot at winning. It's horrible.
Well, it's an ugly sweater contest. What is this supposed to be? What is it supposed to be?
Actually,
a penis?
You can squeak it. Yeah. And you could squeak it too. So, yeah, there were a lot of guys touching her.
Yes, and that's the thing that had me, like, just kind of, like, you know, feeling a certain way is because it was all these strange, bottom-of-the-barrel, just drunk guys, just all coming up to me, just way so many of them, being like, oh, wow, this is so cool. What? Oh, wow, I love your sweater.
Okay, but if some guy comes up to me and is going to touch me, he's going to get up off the floor and tell people he fell. So, you know, like, in other words, you don't need to let them touch you. You could stop them from touching you. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know that anything about that says touch me. Yeah. I mean, it's raunchy for sure, but...
Yeah, that's what had me so uncomfortable. I was just like, whoa, like, this is way too much. But
Okay, but you were happy to wear it. You participated in the contest in it.
I was like,
And the contest prize was $1,000, right?
What is it?
The contest prize was $1,000.
Yes.
All right. And who was voting? Who was making the decision on the sweaters?
It was just Matt, the owner of the house.
And he
everybody
picked-
paid like a $5 fee to get in. And,
Right.
yeah.
And then he ends up picking. Does anybody have a picture of the sweater that won?
No.
Oh, that would be
but
awesome.
Yeah.
You could take it off. You don't need to keep that on.
It was so generic.
Right.
I think
he was just trying to get her number?
Probably.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I think.
All right.
Yeah.
So now when Ms. Andrea doesn't win, do you talk to her after that?
No, she was already like kind of pissed at that point that she didn't win the contest.
Right.
Next thing you know, I think I went to go get a drink or something. It wasn't even but like a couple of minutes. Next thing you know, I can't find her. Matt tells me that she stormed out and she's already gone. So at this point,
How many people were at this party?
Gosh, oh goodness, a lot.
100 or 20?
No, probably closer to 100. Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot. Big old house party.
Yeah.
Huge
Okay,
house
go on.
party. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But I
the
texted
next
her.
day you text her and you
Yes.
say, I need to get paid.
Yeah.
And what does she say to you?
Yeah, she's just like, no, I was mortified. She's like, I'm not paying for the sweater. That's not what I asked for. And I'm like, well,
What did you ask for, Ms. Andrea?
I wanted something wild, crazy, fun. Like I said candy canes, but I didn't mean candy cane penises. Like it was.
Oh, you should have been more specific.
How would she know?
Okay, but you know that she specializes in raunchy. So did you tell her I don't want you to do raunchy?
I'd never seen anything this raunchy. I'd never seen anything so off the wall that it was.
So when you
something
saw
I'd been
it, did you
comfortable with.
reject it? Did you say, no, I'm not going to, no, this is not, I can't do this, no?
I was just kind of like, yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. This case takes the issue of ugly Christmas sweaters up to a whole new level. Let's go back inside the courtroom.
You told her you loved it.
Yeah.
And you did love it. You loved it when you saw it.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, I love it. You know, it was one of those.
You just now don't love it because you didn't win the $1,000 and because guys were touching you all night, apparently.
Yes. It was the fact that the guys were touching me, all these weird guys making me uncomfortable. And then...
You know, you can stop that, though. You know that, right? Like...
Yeah, it was kind of like, eh. But it was one of those. Like, you know, I was kind of concerned for safety, but...
how concerned for safety could you possibly have been? You could take the sweater off.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
but so you were at a party, you were having a good time. Were you drinking too?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you don't win, and is it true you stormed off mad?
I did storm off mad.
Because I would expect you to win too.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you had won, would you have paid her?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So then,
Yes.
please tell me what your defense is then, because she can't guarantee you're going to win. That depends on who Matt wants to meet, apparently. Whatever
Yeah.
Matt's criteria for the evening appears to be or whatever. So she can't guarantee you're going to win. You probably should have won. You probably think you should have won. You probably agree you should have won. And then you'd be rolling in dough and we wouldn't be here. But you can't possibly think that your obligation to pay her depends on whether you win.
Oh, because that's the thing, is when we were talking about, you know, the sweater and, you know, her making it and me buying it for the $300, she said, you're guaranteed to win this. You know, you're going to win this contest. And that's the thing where I was just like, well, you know, I'm pretty sure, because it's like...
Unless she's the judge of the contest, how on earth could she guarantee? Did you guarantee she'd win the
I
contest?
have psychic powers. No.
Right.
No.
So that doesn't sound believable to
No.
me. I just think you're angry because you didn't win. And you're wondering when you're going to wear that again.
Yes.
Although, frankly, you know, depending on, I mean, I wouldn't wear that well, that's not true. My kids aren't kids anymore. I might wear that in front of my. No, I wouldn't wear. But you know,
it makes noises.
And it makes noises. No, yeah, that was the clincher, not Santa upside down on my crotch. That wasn't the clincher.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you got to pay her, Andrea, because a contract is a contract, and it doesn't change because you don't like you change your mind about the wisdom of the contract. You know, you can't possibly have thought that the only way you'd pay her is if you won, just because she says, oh, it's going to be great, you're going to win. Even if she did say you're going to win, you know she can't control whether you win. You're not naive. You're not a child. And, you know, the idea that, oh, men were touching me and that's her fault. No, men are touching and that's the men's fault. Let's start with that. And then it's your fault for not stopping it because you really, you don't have to stand there and be touched, you know. So, but it's predominantly the man's fault. And, you know, all you got to do is stop the behavior. Bad behavior goes on when it's unstopped. And what we all have to realize is nip it in the bud, right? And it has nothing to do with the sweater. And you know she makes raunchy sweaters. And if you tell her you've got all creative control, you're not telling her, hey, make it a rated G sweater, because I know what you normally do. So no, you need to pay her $300. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff prevails. She's finally going to get that $300 for that ugly sweater, which was really very ugly. Ms. Andrea, let me ask you something. The sweater really was pretty bad, but in your mind, was it just not bad enough, or was it too bad? How do you respond?
It was too bad. It was completely, I'd never seen anything so raunchy in my life. Like, and I had no reason to think that it would be this raunchy and this bad. And that's the thing that had me so uncomfortable.
Well, let me ask you something. You had formed a friendship with Ms. Cochran. I gather this has been really injured by this. Am I right? Are you still friends?
Not friends at this time. It's like, I'm trying to think about what kind of circumstances that our friendship could get patched up, but it would be really hard.
I mean, that's really shame over a silly thing like a stupid sweater, don't you think?
I guess that's a true point. But still, it was embarrassing, and there were a lot of people just groping me and making me so uncomfortable at that party.
Well, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. The exit's on your left there. You got to pay her the $300, and who knows if you'd be friends again or not. I don't know.
I guess we'll see what happens in the future, and thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. All right, let's see what Ms. Cochran has to say. She's on her way out of the courtroom now. She was very creative, obviously. Is that a pretty good example of the kinds of sweaters you normally make, or was this overly raunchy?
I mean, I do make raunchy sweaters, and I do make phallic sweaters, but yeah, I went over the top. Yeah, I wanted her to win.
Were you disappointed that you didn't win? We didn't hear that.
Right, yes. Yeah, I was very disappointed. I mean, that's like my work, you know? And I put a lot of blood and sweat and tears in that, so yeah, I was very disappointed.
All right, bottom line is, are you upset that the friendship has obviously been hurt to a degree?
Yes, yeah, I want to mend our friendship. I'm hoping that coming here, we can now move forward. You know, she can still wear that sweater now every year. So, yeah, I hope our friendship can continue.
Well, good luck to you, all right?
Thank you.
You very much. Good luck, and you get your $300. Finally.
Yeah,
Better
finally.
late than never.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good enough. You're welcome. All right, Harvey.
Well, Doug, it could have been that the defendant could have put in the contract that the only way the plaintiff would get paid is if the defendant won that contest. The fact is it was not in the contract, and therefore, by losing, that doesn't negate the fact that the defendant owed the plaintiff money.
My son is a college student who works for my dad and stepmom's restaurant as a cashier. 2 to 3 people use the same register, but whenever the drawer comes up short, my son is the only person they deduct money from. He was never told about this in advance and only found out when he saw the deduction on his check. Is this legal? Can he do anything to get his money back?
I think he can. I think that may be an actionable situation where the employer might have to give the money back, because if you have 2 or 3 people with access to that register, and unless you've got a camera on it or you've got some kind of proof that it's him, the reason it's short, how do you go about just saying, oh yeah, gimme, and let the other two people walk. I mean, you got to have some kind of basis for this.
Right.
I mean, it's certainly.
I'm hoping that rather than filing a case, although I agree with you that they've definitely got a case, that you actually speak to Grandpa.
Right.
Because why is Grandpa assuming that his grandson is the one?
Right.
If that's the case, and maybe you find out no, he is the only one who has access, and then you learn new things.
Absolutely.
You just never know. But I think step one is definitely trying to communicate and resolve this.
Right.
And how old is your son? I mean, is your son 16 or is your son 26? I mean, should you really be involved? And would you be involved if it wasn't your dad who owns the place? And
absolutely.
I mean, if it was my dad, I'd definitely be getting involved. I don't care if they're 36, but
I look at it. When I heard the question, I was thinking in terms like a prosecutor is how can you prove this? Is there proof beyond a reasonable doubt?
No, but I agree with you. I don't think an employer can just do that if there's several people with access.
You have multiple
something.
people with access. Like many years ago, I had a case as a federal prosecutor because one of the hijackers from the 9/11 incident, Mohammed Atta, had obtained, the guy who flew the plane into the North Tower, he had obtained a Florida driver's license and had never taken the driving test, etc. And we were very interested in trying to find out how. And ultimately, we found out that there was a driver's license agency in Fort Lauderdale, and there was a driving school owner in the parking lot who had a relationship with somebody inside of that agency and was getting these phony driver's licenses without having people take a test for $2,500, $3,000 a pop. And ultimately, we prosecuted him, the driving school leader, and convicted him, but he wouldn't roll over on the person behind the counter at the Department of Motor Vehicles. And we had 3 people that had access to that computer that gave out that particular license, and to several other people who shouldn't have gotten them, and later admitted that they shouldn't have gotten them. But it didn't go anywhere. The one guy, he took the fall, he went to trial, he got convicted, and he wouldn't roll over.
How much time did he get?
18, 24 months. I mean,
wow.
It's a document fraud crime. It wasn't that much. So
right.
That was the end of it.
This is the plaintiff, Harry. He says he bought a $37,000 Corvette from the defendant, who promised him 2 keys, and he's been getting a runaround on the second key ever since. He bought the car in good faith on the defendant's promise. It's now costing him $589.51 to get a new key, and he thinks the defendant should pay for it. So he's suing him for it. This is the defendant, Luis. He says he gave the plaintiff a great price on his 2014 Vette and never promised there would be 2 keys. This guy's harassing him. Contacts him 15, 20 times in a row for months. And he's scared the guy's gonna kill him over a key. Bottom line, a second key is not his responsibility. And the plaintiff just needs to get over it and move on. He's accused of making false promises. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $6,400 for emotional distress.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff bought a Corvette from the defendant, but the plaintiff says the deal was he would get 2 keys to the Corvette and only got 1, so he is suing for the cost of the second key. It's the case of someone key my Corvette.
Thank you, Douglas. All right, Mr. Harry, you're suing Mr. Lewis for $589.51 that it's going to cost you for a replacement key for the 2014 Chevrolet Corvette you bought from him. You are counterclaiming against him $6,400 in emotional distress. And before another word is uttered, I need to know how you calculated the emotional distress to be exactly $6,400.
I mean, I added up a few deals that I missed out on, days of court, gas money.
All right, let me hear from Mr. Harry first. Go ahead, Mr. Harry. Talk to me.
Good morning, Your Honor. End of 2021, my son's car got totaled, so I ended up giving my vehicle to him. And I told my son, look around and see if you could come across to a weekend car for myself. January 13, he came to me and he said that I found a 2014 Corvette and it looks pretty nice. And I said, okay. So we saw the car. I drove the car. It had a few issues. We negotiated the price for $37,000. I asked him if the vehicle has second key. He said yes. And I asked him, why are you selling the car? He said apparently he got the car from his family member because he was buying a house and he needed the money, and he was giving away the car for very cheap, so he bought it so he could make money on it. I said, okay, that's fine. And I asked for the key, second key. He says, yes, I have the key. I said, for sure? He said, yes. Okay. I gave him $200 cash deposit on a car. We shake hands. And I said, I'll come and get the car tomorrow with the cashier's check. He agreed. Second day, I went there with $36,800 cashier's check. And his wife even registered the car right on the spot. And at that point, he handed over to me the single key. I said, what about the second key? He said that he hasn't got the second key from his cousin yet, but for sure they have it. And he didn't have the chance to see the cousin to get the key, but I'll get it to you. I said, okay, that was part of the deal.
How did he know that for sure they had it?
That I don't know, Judge. You have to ask him.
Okay.
And we're sitting in an office, and a wife was doing the registration. I said, I want to make sure I'm going to get the key. He said, yeah, don't worry about it. And the wife even said in the office that either you can come and pick up from the office, or I can go ahead and FedEx it to you. I said, that's fine. So I give him like a couple of days, and I should have texted him and saying, hey, you got the key? No response. And then again, hey, what happened? You got the key? No response. I called to the office. The wife pick up. I go, what happened? Your husband is ghosting on me, and he's not answering on my text. She said, he got the key last night. I'll go ahead and FedEx it to you tomorrow. I said, okay, thank you for that. 2 days, I gave them like a couple of days, nothing. I'm calling the wife, she's not answering. And then I'm texting him, nothing. So finally, like after back and forth, like days passed, he texted to me, I don't have the key, and stop harassing, it wasn't harass. I was just asking that, give me what you promised me. And that was about it. I said, and then he said, and I said in a text, if you don't have the key, then you have to pay for the key because that was part of the deal. And no response. And I said, okay, if you're not going to do that, then I'll take you to the court. That was it.
And here we are. All right, Mr. Lewis, you tell me your side.
Yes, so apparently I sold this guy the car. He came, he looked at the car.
By the way, is there a bill of sale for the sale of the car?
No.
Is that accurate or no?
No, there was never a bill of sale.
Okay, so go on.
Yeah, so like he said, he came back the next day. He came with the cashier's check, and he asked me, is there a second key?
Is the check in his hand at the time, or has he already given it to you?
He given it to me already.
When did he give you the cashier's check?
He gave me the cashier's check as soon as we left the bank.
Okay, and what happens?
And then he asked me, is there a second key? And I told him, yeah, if there's a second key, I'll be glad to give it to you.
Now,
I got it from a family.
Had he asked about a second key before that?
No.
Okay.
And I told him, if there is a second key, I will gladly give it to you. If I find it, I will give it to you. If not, well, the deal is a deal. And then after that, that's when the phone calls start coming in, the text messages.
I'm sorry, hold on. Why would you say the words a deal is a deal?
Yeah, like a deal's a deal. Like the car
really
got sold.
Did that conversation come up, or did it look more like this? Hey, is there a second key? Yeah, let me see if I can find it. That's how it would normally come up. Not, and if not, comma, a deal is a deal. I don't think that's how people talk, really, because you don't expect him to sue you over this. You think he's just asking you for a key. So the phrase a deal is a deal probably was never said, right?
I'm pretty sure I said a deal was a deal. Like, I mean, if there's no second key, a deal is a deal. Like, it's done. Like, there's no other key. But
so what happens? Did you not find the key?
I went crazy looking for the key. He would call me repeatedly. I told him, hey, bro, if I find the key, I'll gladly give you the key. Like, if there is no key, just get over it. Like, move on. And he kept calling me, harassing me, calling my business, calling my wife.
Where were you going to get the key from?
My cousin. I had bought the car off.
Did you ever ask your cousin if he had the key?
Yeah, he didn't have it.
Okay. So did your cousin say he had given it to you?
No, he never gave me a second key at all.
But did he say he did?
No, he never told me. He said he would look for it.
Okay. God, when you bought it from him, you didn't want a second key?
I didn't see it a big deal because I buy cars from auctions all the time, and I never get a second key. So,
all right. So according to him, he called one day, and your wife said to him he got the key last night.
I mean, whatever conversations he had with her, that's her. That deal wasn't with me.
She says you got the key the prior night. Had you?
No.
Is your wife there?
No.
Did you get the key and you're not giving it to him because he's a pest?
No, I'm not that kind of person. If I had the key, I would give it to him.
Mr. Harry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Whether you mentioned it before or after giving him the check is a pretty good indication of whether it's a condition of the contract, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Let's say that you did mention it beforehand. You'd still have to prove that it was a condition of the contract. In other words, he only has an obligation to pay for a second key if he breached an obligation to give you 2 keys, which means that it has to be a condition of the contract, as in, I'm not buying your Corvette unless there's a second key. If that's the case, wouldn't I find that on a bill of sale or on a piece of the nearest piece of toilet paper and crayon that you use to write it down to say, this is really important, this is a condition of the contract?
We didn't write it on a piece of paper, but my son was with me, so he can testify. That,
okay, I'm happy to hear from your son. Go ahead and put your son on.
Sure.
What's your name?
Hi, Your Honor. Andy.
Okay, please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so what conversations did you hear about the key?
About the key, I heard my dad on the first day when he was inspecting the car. Before buying it, he multiple times asked him, oh, do you have the key, second key?
Why would he ask him multiple times? If he asked him once and he got an answer, why would he repeat himself?
Well, he got an answer, and then he asked, oh, well, is it with you? And then he said, oh, it's with my cousin. And then my dad made sure saying, okay, for sure, can you get it? So, by the time we pick up the car, hopefully tomorrow, can you pick it up tonight? So when I pick up the car, I have both keys. And he said, oh, I'll try. And
even your dad doesn't say all this, but go ahead.
But the next day when we go to pick up the car, he says, oh, I didn't have a chance. I was working, like my dad said. And then after that, the conversations were between my dad and him. But he mentioned multiple times that, yes, I have the key, and yes, it was with my cousin. So there was a second key, but we never received it.
Right. So if the cousin can't find the key, you want to give back the Corvette? Who's driving the Corvette, you or your father?
Mainly my father.
Okay. Let me talk to your father again. How's the Corvette driving?
It's driving fine.
Okay. Do you want to undo the deal and return the Corvette?
No, Your Honor.
I didn't think you would.
I put a lot of money into it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think you would. I appreciate your son being a good son and all that, but
thank you.
I have to go, by the letter of the law and understand what the contract was between you. And just because your son says, my dad asked about the key a lot, that's what I was referring to beforehand. You can ask about the key a lot beforehand. It's not be all and end all. Oh, had you already handed the check over before the first time you mentioned the key? I don't care if you mentioned the key 100 times beforehand. The important thing is the sale contingent on it. Contingent, like it's not going to happen unless there's a second key. And that is very unusual, right? Because you don't want to return the Corvette. So that unusual thing I need to have proof of, such as in a bill of sale, it says that if there is no, that you promise there's a second key, and if you don't provide a second key, you're going to pay for a second key. Because that's the remedy you're asking for. You don't want to return the Corvette. You don't want to undo the deal. You just want him to pay for a second key. And I'm going to have to see something that proves he has that legal obligation, because normally he doesn't. And you asking about the key a lot beforehand, which is what you and your son say, that does not mean that he has to pay for the key if he can't find it, okay? I would have to find it to be, yes, you can. But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Sure.
You want a very specific remedy. Hand me $600. And if all you guys do is talk about the key beforehand, yeah, my cousin has the key. Okay, you're going to have the second key? Okay, great, second key. That still has to be a condition of the deal. A condition of the deal. And I know it's not, because you don't want to give back the Corvette. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
The paperwork that I submitted to the court. I don't know if you had the chance to see it or not. On a text conversation that I even said that was part of the deal.
Yeah, that's you saying it after everything's hit the fan and you're calling 1,000 times over there because you want the key. That is not proof beforehand that it was actually a condition of the sale. That's you saying what you're saying in court. After everything hits the fan, now I want to add something to a contract I didn't write and didn't have, which is you got to pay $589.51. No. On your counterclaim against him, $6,400. Why?
I am suing for emotional distress.
Why?
Because the repeated calls, I was scared to go to work thinking this guy was going to kill me over a key. He would start sending text messages, aggressive text messages.
How many times did he call about the key?
He called at least 100 times.
Okay.
That's a lie.
Well, you do have who's that affidavit from that you submitted into evidence? Who's that from? Your wife?
That's my wife. He would blow up the business. He'll blow up her phone.
Okay. And how many times did he text you about the key?
Honestly, I lost count. He texted me repeatedly times. I told him over the phone, you know what? If I can't find the key, I'm sorry. Like, just move on. There's no second key. You know what I mean? Like, I told you I would look for the key. I never promised you the key.
Okay. I don't find based on your, but other than it being, him being annoying, how does that translate to $6,400 for you?
There was days of work that I wouldn't even want to go to work, fearing that this guy was going to come. Well, then I think you need
to put your big boy pants on and go to work, even though he's calling a lot.
I mean, I don't know what this guy's mindset is.
Really? Did he ever threaten to kill you over a key?
I mean, it sounded like he was gonna.
On your counterclaim 0, on his claim against you for the reasons I've gone into already, I don't find that there is any specific agreement on his part to provide the second key as part of the contract as opposed to as just something he'd do. And therefore, I don't find that he has to pay $589.51. Verdict for the defendant on the claim.
We're taking a break. When we come back, Judge Milan is going to be in chambers with her husband, and Doug is going to be in the hallway with the litigants.
Are you having a dispute with a relative and do you want Judge Milan to settle it for you? Contact us at peoplescourt.com and hit submit your case.
Let's talk to the plaintiff. Why is the second key so blooming important to you?
Because if you lose the key, so you could have a spare key. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck, and it's an expensive key. It's almost $600.
You can get a key, though, by going to Chevrolet, I presume, and getting another key. Would that be right?
Yeah, but it's going to cost nearly $600.
Yeah, I guess if you want it, you're going to have to buy it and go to General Motors, you know.
I guess.
Okay. I'm sorry, but hey, were you worried about having to pay him, you know, thousands of dollars for emotional distress for what you caused him?
Not at all. I didn't cause him any emotional distress. No, not at all. I didn't call him thousands.
You scared him.
I call it. No, I did not. I'm not a scary person. I was just asking him whatever I was promised to, and he didn't give it to me. He's a big fat liar. That's all he is.
All right. Well, that's his story, you know. Mr. Luis, let me ask you, how do you feel about the case now? You don't have to pay him for that key. The issue's over. You happy?
I feel like if he's worried about paying $600 for a key, he should go buy a Honda.
All right.
I think that's what.
Well, listen, your cousin didn't have the key. That's real bottom line, right?
Yep, no key. Sorry.
None. Okay. All right. Well, we'll bring this case to a close, and I hope you get over your emotional distress. Okay. Time will heal.
I'll try.
Hopefully.
I'll try. All right.
All right. Good enough.
All right.
Harvey?
Okay, Doug, look. This is a contract case, breach of contract. Did anybody promise 2 keys to the buyer of this Corvette? When you have a contract case like this, you can't get emotional distress. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think people have gotten way too sensitive in this society, and everything seems to hurt them extremely, but the law doesn't treat it as such. In a contract case, no such thing as pain and suffering or emotional distress.
What is your golf handicap, John? And what is your favorite course that you have played? Maryland. Do you play?
Oh,
That would be a hell no.
This could be really humiliating, though. I have to expose myself.
Yeah,
reveal my handicap. I should just spew out some vanity handicap number.
What's the real handicap?
Real handicap. I'm a 12 at my golf course.
And what does that mean, handicap?
That's a good way to keep track of when you play against other players, whether you should be getting strokes or giving strokes.
Meaning that you even out the game between, if you're playing against a really good player with a lower handicap, you even it out by giving you a few extra strokes.
Exactly.
So you play golf with a couple of judges and lawyers who are friends of yours that you've been playing with, this little foursome of yours that's been going on for years.
And they're all better than me at the game, honestly. They're all a little bit lower handicaps.
They give you strokes.
I get some shots, yes.
Okay.
The other team I play against, also one of the guys was a national punt passing kick champion for the United States.
And how does that help you play golf better?
It just tells you he's a tremendous athlete. He's got tremendous coordination, let's just say. But my favorite courses, I would say, I love mountain golf courses. So I would go to the North Carolina ones that I play once in a while, like Beach Mountain or Linville Ridge, Elk River, which isn't as mountainous. And then in New Jersey, near where my brother lives, there's some great public courses that are spectacular. Black Bear, Ballyowen, Wild Turkey, I think it's called. They're just all wonderful. And what about you? When am I going to get you on the golf course?
You don't want me on the golf course. What are you pretending to America that you have asked me to go to the golf course?
I have, and what do I ask you to do? Drive the cart.
You haven't even asked me to drive the cart. You won't even trust me to do that. I sit there and watch you and hear you talk.
That's true. I actually ride in the cart. Let me rephrase that.
Ride in the cart. It's a nice night.
Not drive it. I don't want to give up the wheel. But yeah, I do like when you ride along with me sometimes.